Alright, in this tutorial we are going to take a look at some reasoning in algebra. In this section, on the very first page, you're going to see an orange box, a couple of them actually, full of properties of equality that you are going to have to start knowing by heart. So making some flashcards or writing them on a sheet of paper for a study guide, something like that, and start practicing them, reviewing them every day, because you're going to have to start knowing them really well for when we do proofs later on. So I want you to take a look at this example. It says to solve for x and to justify each step. The word justify here means to tell me why you know that you can do that particular step. And in math, it's typically a property. It's the addition property, the subtraction property, something along those lines. Now, I'm going to do both of these at the same exact time. I'm going to show you my steps and then justify each step as I go. Now, the very first thing that we know is when I take a look at this problem, I don't know what the measure is of angle AOC. I don't know if this is a straight angle. I can't even estimate what these numbers are going to be, but I do know that the sum of those two angles should equal the entire angle. So, in other words, I know that the measure of angle AOB plus the measure of angle BOC is going to give me the measure of angle AOC. And take a second to locate all those angles and see if you agree. Okay. And the reason that I know I can do this is actually a postulate that we learned earlier on, and it was simply the angle addition postulate. And I'm going to put this right next to it because I don't have a lot of space. But my reasoning, all of my reasoning here, my justifications, are going to be in orange. So this is the angle addition postulate, which I'm going to abbreviate AAP. Okay? And this is my justification. I know I can write this equation this way because of that postulate. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually substitute what all of these measures are and take it from there. And I'm going to say that the measure of angle AOB is x. That's all I know. Okay? And then I'm going to write my plus sign. Now I'm going to write down whatever the measure of angle BOC is, which is 2x plus 10. And I'm going to keep it in parentheses just in case there's anything else I need to do for that. And the measure of angle AOC. Okay, so in the very beginning, I didn't specify the angle measure for this angle, but we are going to say that it is 139 degrees, the whole thing, okay? Angle AOC. AOC, there you go. Okay, so we're going to put 139 here. Alright, so what was my reasoning for doing that? How did I know that I could write it like that? And that's very simply because of the substitution property. And I'm just going to write subst and then prop. Now, do not write SUB because that could also stand for subtraction. So just make sure that you distinguish them a little bit differently, okay? Now the next thing that I'm going to do is, because there's nothing but addition over here, the parentheses are actually not necessary. So why don't we go ahead and combine these x terms since they're like terms. So 1x and 2x give me 3x's. I'm going to bring down the plus 10 and the equal 139. So what was my justification for this step? Well, there really wasn't any kind of justification except that all I tried to do was to simplify. And simplify can be a legitimate justification. Okay. So where do we go from here? Well, I would definitely subtract 10 from both sides because I'm trying to solve for x. So when I do that, these 10s cancel, I'm left with 3x equals 129, and my justification for this was because of the subtraction property. And that's where I use sub. So I use substitution as SUB-ST and subtraction as sub. Okay? Now we're almost finished. The last thing that I'm going to do is to divide both sides by 3 to solve for x. And these 3's are going to cancel. And I'm going to be left with x equals 129 divided by 3, which is 43. And my justification for that step was the division property. So in this problem, I went ahead and I did solve for x. My answer is right here. And along the way, I justified every single one of my steps. So I know exactly what I did was okay to do. And that is the end of this tutorial.